The Galactic Military Academy's observation deck buzzed with tension as Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian fleet watched the holographic displays with growing unease. Beside him, Commander Vrex clicked his mandibles nervously, a sound that had become all too familiar during their assessment of the human candidates. "Freeze the combat simulation," Kethvar ordered. His four eyes focused intently on Jackson Martinez, who had just completed what should have been an impossible maneuver against 3 Thrakari battle drones simultaneously. The hologram stuttered to a halt, capturing Jackson mid-leap, plasma rifle extended, targeting systems locked onto all 3 enemies at once. His human physiology shouldn't have been capable of the reaction time required for such precision. Yet the data didn't lie. "Run it again," Rex suggested, his translator crackling. Perhaps there was a malfunction in the simulation parameters. But Kethvar's attention had already shifted to the adjacent training room, where Lily Chen continued working at the quantum mechanics board as if nothing had happened. While every other species' representatives had paused to observe the frozen combat display, she remained absorbed in her calculations, her chalk moving in swift, confident strokes across the dark surface. "She's still solving equations," Kethvar murmured, fascination creeping into his voice. Even with the time distortion field active, this was unprecedented. The Academy's temporal manipulation systems were designed to test candidates' adaptability to various time flow scenarios that might occur during deep space missions. When the field activated, most beings experienced disorientation, confusion, or complete paralysis. The Zephyrians themselves required extensive conditioning to function during such events. Yet Lily worked on completely unfazed. Jackson, meanwhile, seemed to have noticed the temporal anomaly immediately upon its activation. Rather than panic or freeze like other candidates, he had adapted his combat strategy in real time, using the distortion as a tactical advantage. The simulation's AI had recorded 17 distinct micro-adjustments in his positioning and targeting, modifications that demonstrated an intuitive understanding of the shifted physics. "Pull up the human psychological profiles," Kethvar commanded. The data streams materialized before them. Jackson Martinez, age 23, former Earth Military Special Forces, specialized in adaptive combat scenarios. Multiple commendations for improvisation under extreme conditions. Lily Chen, age 22, theoretical physicist, 3 PhDs by age 20, published researcher in quantum temporal mechanics. They're not just random selections, Rex realized. Earth sent us their best. But even that didn't explain what they were witnessing. No amount of training should have prepared Jackson for combat in a temporal distortion field. The technology didn't exist on Earth. Similarly, Lily's understanding of the quantum mathematics involved in time manipulation should have been purely theoretical. "Admiral," Lieutenant Yix's voice came through the comm system. "We're detecting unusual neural activity patterns from both human subjects. Their brain activity is adapting to the temporal field in real time." Kethvar leaned forward. "Adapting how?" "Their neural networks appear to be rewiring themselves to process information at multiple temporal rates simultaneously. It's as if their consciousness exists partially outside our time distortion." On the screen, Lily had moved to a new section of the board, her equations becoming increasingly complex. Kethvar recognized some of the symbols, advanced temporal mechanics that most Academy graduates struggled to comprehend, let alone manipulate in practical applications. Jackson, still frozen in the combat simulation, showed elevated but controlled stress responses. His body language suggested he was aware of the temporal manipulation and was calculating optimal responses for when time resumed normal flow. "End the distortion field," Kethvar ordered. Reality snapped back into focus. Jackson completed his impossible maneuver flawlessly, neutralizing all 3 drones before landing in a perfect combat stance. He looked up at the observation deck and offered a casual salute, as if defeating multiple enemies while navigating temporal distortion was routine. Lily finished her final equation with a flourish, stepped back, and for the first time acknowledged the observers. Her chalkwork revealed a complete mathematical proof for optimizing energy distribution in temporal field generators, an advancement that could revolutionize galactic military technology. "Impressive exercise," she called up to the observation deck. "Though I should mention, Your temporal field has a 7% efficiency loss due to quantum decoherence in the third-dimensional matrix. I've worked out the corrections if you're interested. Vrex's mandibles clicked rapidly. They knew. They both knew what we were testing. No, Kethvar said slowly, understanding dawning. They didn't know. They simply adapted in real time. The implications were staggering. Humanity had been considered a promising but unremarkable species when they'd applied for academy admission. Their technology was primitive, their military doctrine basic, their scientific understanding limited to their own solar system. Yet these two individuals had just demonstrated cognitive flexibility that surpassed every known species in the galaxy. Admiral, Yix reported, I'm detecting similar neural adaptation patterns in the other human candidates as well, though to lesser degrees. Jackson had joined Lily at the quantum board, pointing to specific equations and nodding thoughtfully. Within minutes, they were collaborating, Jackson's tactical insights combining with Lily's theoretical knowledge to produce refinements that made Kethavar's head spin. They're not just adapting to our tests, Vrex observed with something approaching awe. They're improving them. As if to prove his point, Lily turned toward the observation deck again. Your combat simulations could benefit from incorporating temporal variables, she said conversationally. Real battles rarely occur in stable time streams, especially near gravitational anomalies or artificial time dilation fields. Jackson and I could help redesign the training protocols if you'd like. Jackson grinned and added, plus the drone's behavioral algorithms are pretty predictable once you account for the temporal lag. Want us to show you some more interesting scenarios? Kethavar found himself speechless. These humans hadn't just passed their tests. They had identified flaws in systems that had been refined over centuries and were offering improvements. Perhaps, Vrex said quietly, we've been looking at this backwards. We thought we were evaluating whether humans were ready to join galactic civilization. Kethvar nodded slowly, watching as more human candidates gathered around Lily's board, each contributing insights that built upon her work with Jackson's practical applications. But maybe, he finished, we should have been asking whether galactic civilization was ready for humans. Below them, the humans continued their impromptu collaboration, solving problems, breaking limitations, and doing what they apparently did best, adapting, improving, and moving forward with an unshakable confidence that every challenge was simply another puzzle, waiting to be solved. The galaxy, Kethvar realized, was about to become a much more interesting place.